Hello and welcome to a Smurd P video, and today we're looking at Transformers Legacy Evolution Commander Class Armada Universe Optimus Prime, and this box is huge. Beautiful artwork as always. Just looking at the top, on the side, on the back we have all the different modes. So we've got 20 modes, just get him into a normal mode, 22 modes get into there. It's a shame he doesn't say from there to there, etc., on how many steps it takes, but it is quite a few. And then on this side, this is probably my favorite side of the box, where you've got Optimus transforming into that Orb mode. So let's have a look at this figure a little bit closer. So when I was collecting Transformers in the mid-zeros, a very long time ago, Armada was a big part of that collection. I love the Armada series, and I probably didn't watch it till many years after, because I was changing from teenager to adult, and I think I've said this numerous times. I felt like we give toys up, etc. Now I know better, because I would have just kept collecting back then if I could only conquer my insecurities. Now I'm not bothered at all about my enjoyment of figures, etc. So Armada, I had a massive cabinet of Armada toys, and I loved this Artemis Prime. I loved the red Artemis Prime, and they were beautiful. They were big parts of my shelf. I think the only thing that I never was able to get was Jetfire. Jetfire was really hard to get back then. So, but I honestly hope that we get a Jetfire with this line, because this line deserves a Jetfire, and Optimus Prime deserves 2 power links with him. First of all, big disappointment. I'm going to get it over and done with Sparkplug. No Sparkplug with this figure. Absolutely gutted, absolutely disappointed with the fact that Hasbro have done that, and they are ensuring that they cash in on these figures by having perhaps the mini column will come with a red version of this Artemis Prime. Now, in the show, as far as I remember, they did all sort of change colors. I can't remember who changed what, but we did get 2 toys as well for Artemis Prime. So Hasbro are cashing in on that. So let's first take this off. So in terms of the trailer, to get it a stand, you've got these 2 little points here that just pop off like so, and then you can have it standing like that, and you can separate them, and I think that's very cool. Beautiful Optimus Prime Autobot sign there. You've got the sort of the treads at the back. They are got little wheels there, as you can see underneath. It's all very, very tight, very well controlled, very well managed, and it is the perfect trailer in my eyes. I absolutely love this trailer. You've got the gun, which will form part of that battle base very soon, and you can put the gun on the top as well. He's a iron cannon, or his blaster, whatever you want to call it. You can put that on the top, and if I remember right, it was always sort of on top. I can't remember about the actual show, because obviously they were on Earth, they were robots in disguise, etc. But this just looks absolutely phenomenal. The back, you can see where parts of the body perhaps are, but they're not in the way, so to speak. So let me put that aside, and then we've got the truck, which could always separate, was always a reasonable size, because these form the legs, etc. And once again, it looks very, very cool, very simple, very compact, very controlled. The cab was always like this. It wasn't a massive sort of upright cab. It was always a sort of low-level cab like this. It's got some beautiful little details on there. Nice Autobot sign on there. The front, forgot what it's called, grill. And then you've got these, which also you can take off, and you can put them on the side of the gun like that, which I'm not a fan of at all. Doesn't appeal to me. Maybe if you put it like that, I perhaps think that just actually works a little bit better, rather than acting as a sort of a double gun, because I'm not interested in the double gun. This on its own has 6 wheels, go quite nicely. It's a nice little silver in there as well. And then if I put this back on here, I think I've knocked that out. face. Just connects there. I'm hoping you can sort of see that. Don't usually do things like this on a video. And, you know, he rolls quite nicely. This can move around like that, which I do like as well. The cannon can also move around like so, which I do like also. So let's bring in some comparisons, because unlike some of my other collections, I've actually managed to keep hold of Armada, because I was generally quite excited by Armada Prime. So we've got Megatron. So I think the size difference actually works, but is a tank bigger than a truck? Probably so. So in some ways it doesn't, but then it wouldn't make sense in robot mode, and these things are always up for what's the word, debate. And then we bring in Hotshot, which is cool. And then finally we're gonna bring in Starscream, which once again, as a jet, is a jet bigger than a truck? Probably, but you know, in terms of the show, it probably was not. So there we go. So here is the art mode. I'm going to go transforming into that base, and we can have a look at that together and see what that looks like. Okay, so here is Optimus Prime in his regular mode, which he would have used a majority of time. It was probably only in extreme cases he would have combined with the battle base to create, he was never called Mega Optimus, he was just still Optimus Prime, to be fair. So in terms of the base itself, it's probably my least favorite of the whole part. However, they've still done a really good job. I'm not gonna knock it too much. It just feels a bit, if I had a couple of mini-cons, I could have put a couple of mini-cons, but they've designed it with the idea of mini-cons. That's what I'm getting from this, just looking at this piece here, etc. No side guns. I think the original toy had side guns, or the show had side guns, but they do have little turrets on here, etc. You've got this sort of little base here where you can add this here, or you can take this piece here and drop this in here, unless I'm mistaken. I've made a big mistake. No, I think I've made a big mistake. Anyway, you can have this on here facing this way as well. Doesn't necessarily have to be this way. And I think my biggest disappointment is, as much as this turret is beautiful, it would have been nice if this, you could move this around a little bit, etc., in terms of moving it forward like the original gun to get it into a decent shape. But you know, I mean, you can get it like that, which is pretty cool. I guess you can add the iron cannon on there. I feel like there should be, I feel like they should have, you should be able to put something on there, unless later on there is something that comes out that you can combine with it. I feel like this bit is lacking and a little bit disappointing from my perspective, but all in all, it looks quite cool anyway. So there is the battle base. Let's move on to the Optimus, which I'm probably most excited for. In fact, let's move that out completely, out of sight, out of mind. And let's bring in my light. Get out of the way, foot. There we go. There is Artemis Prime, and he looks gorgeous. He really does look the piece. He's not my favorite looking Optimus Prime of all time, but I feel like they have done a really good job with this in terms of how it looks. You could put the little blasters on the arms, which is where they used to sit, which I prefer. You do I guess my biggest gripe is you do have this massive skirt that goes all the way around. I would have liked it if they could have found a way to sort of hide that. That would have been cool. And you can see the hands in the back. It's not a deal breaker as such, but it would have been nice if they could have found a better way to do that. The legs are pretty cool, and it's not, the skirt doesn't restrict me. You can lift the skirt up as well. I just feel like they could have found a better way to fold that in. Maybe fold these bits into underneath there, maybe. Just fold that so it just slips. I don't know. I'm not a toy engineer, but I feel like that was a little bit disappointing. The colors look vibrant and look good. I feel like they've done a a stellar job in terms of this. So let's look at articulation quickly. So the head can move all the way around. The arm can go all the way around. He has a swivel there. He has a double on the arm, sorry. Ugh, if I can get that back in place. The hands do have this box around it. They can move there, but you gotta really be careful how you do that. There's no movement on this piece here because obviously this all breaks out. So that's a little bit disappointing. You can do the full splits. He does have a knee bend there, backwards and forwards, so you can get him into some fabulous poses. He does have a left and right, a little up, a little down, sorry, not an up. So all in all, that is some fabulous work that they have done to give us this Articulated Prime that looks perfect in Art mode as well as robot mode. I transformed those feet right. I can't remember to that. Yeah, we're gonna leave it like that. And it does look very, very awesome. I like the fact that it's got this nice silver bit. Now he does have this massive chest piece, which maybe in my mind is just a tad bit too big. And you do have the matrix in there that can come out. Now the matrix did sort of look like this, but it's not. It's a very, very cheap sort of piece of plastic that just pops on there. So I mean, he did, it was always sort of like this anyway, but I just didn't find it. I feel like it pokes out a little bit too much, but maybe if it didn't poke too much as much, I'd be complaining that it was a little bit flat, should we say. So, and then you can bring in his ion blaster as well, which with this double joint, he can really, like I said, get into some decent poses, etc. It looks really very, very cool. If I can get him to stay still. So you can have a lot of fun with this figure, I feel. A lot of fun. Just bringing that light a little bit. Beautiful. So let's bring in some figures to compare them against. Okay, first up, here he is next to Armada Megatron, and I think the size is quite nice. Megatron was bigger than Prime, which is very, very decent. And like I said, I think the majority of the time they get the sizes right in terms of these figures. It's just the alt modes. I've only noticed it recently in terms of their size. Here he is next to Hotshot, which once again, decent size. Commander versus Minion, so to speak. And then Starscream, which I think once again he was sort of a similar size, and they all look very decent together. So I'm gonna get sorry, my camera's doing wonky donkey things. I'm going to get Artemis transformed into his final mode so we can have a look at the mode that I'm really probably the most excited about. We're just going to call him Super Prime. So see you in a sec. Okay, just one last thing before I transform him, because I've only just realized that you can do this. You can actually take the Autobot sign off of the back there, and you can put it there, which I will be honest, makes no sense. If you could have put it somewhere on the front, perhaps it would have looked cooler, but maybe it was like that in the show anyway. But there it goes, just on the back. It just seems a bit bizarre, but it is a beautiful Autobot Sigma. Okay, so here is Optimus Prime in his super mode, and boy, does this look gorgeous. I was a massive fan of the toy, especially in this mode, and that wasn't a disappointment even back then. There are ports hopefully for Sparkplug. I'm hoping we can get a Jetfire and overload it in there too. But just looking at him, it looks absolutely gorgeous. The gold complements the blue and the red. It just also slots together really, really nicely all the way around. How everything just flows, even because you go from sort of base mode to this mode, the transformation just seems to flow really well. I think the only bit that I struggled with was the end bit. I just had to check out somebody else's video. for that bit. So somebody like Prime versus Prime, that's where I went to check out the transformation. If you're struggling, the instructions were quite clear, to be fair. I sort of lose interest in them sometimes. The backpack's probably the biggest bit of this, but you're trying to get a whole truck around a small sort of central body. It is difficult, so to speak. So in terms of articulation as well, so the head can go, oh, come on, all the way around. He's got little flappy wings there. Do be careful of them, because I feel like there's a pin in there. I'm not entirely sure. The arm can go all the way around. Now, because you can pop these bits out, you have even more motion on the arms. Nice ratchet there. Spin off the hands there, and you do have this little articulation where the hand can pop out quite nicely. No movement on this piece here in terms of waist, which is to be expected. Now the leg, you can push the leg back, but you got this piece here, and the same with the bend. You can do the full splits, however, he can go all the way forward because you can move these skirt pieces. You can lift this swivel here. That was completely the wrong wording. You can go left a little bit. You got a little bit of toe as well, and a little bit at the end. You just want to angle things slightly different, you can do. So all in all, he has some nice articulation considering the size and the engineering to achieve this piece as well. I think they've done a fabulous job, and he does look absolutely stunning there. So let's bring in some other Transformers. So we got Hotshot, who is obviously very small compared to him, to be expected, because he's a deluxe class. And then we've got Starscream, who perhaps would still give Artemis Prime a good go in terms of attacking him. And then, of course, the one that we're all interested in, Megatron. And I think the size is about right, to be honest with you. Artemis Prime was much bigger when he transformed into the super mode, etc. And he just fits really, really nicely next to Megatron. I really do like them together. So they look great. So I hope you like my video. Artemis Prime, once again, very, very excited for him. This was a big part of when I started collecting Transformers again, like I said. So I do have a particular sort of nostalgia when it comes to them. Am I going to keep them? I guess that is a question. I probably won't. I probably will sell these on. I've not seen, I think if I'd seen more news of Armada figures already, I perhaps would have waited, but I don't think I will. I think I will sell these, and perhaps if we are going to get something more, something special, I perhaps then will decide if I'm going to buy them again. And I feel if Jetfire's coming over low tidal weight, I feel like I would have to reinvest in Megatron and Optimus Prime. I may just sell these on now, and then just in a few months' time, depending on what else I've got to invest in, I may just try and pick them up again. I know I make it very difficult for myself at times, but hey, this is the fun of being a reviewer, collector, and trying to keep my wife happy all in one. So anyway, hope you like my video. If you do, please support my channel by subscribing. I really appreciate it. Make sure you look after yourself, very important these days. Thank you for watching. Thank you to those that subscribe to my channel. And as always, embrace geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.